You're still watching Good Morning Namibia. Now, last week, President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah announced the establishment of several presidential task forces aimed at accelerating progress in critical sectors, including economic recovery and resilience, health and housing, as well as land reform. The move has sparked important national dialogue about whether these interventions signal a renewed urgency to addressing long-standing structural challenges within the Namibian economy. As the country approaches the festive break, questions remain around planning, policy execution, and whether sufficient groundwork has already been done in these areas such as health and service delivery, as well as affordable housing issues that have been persisting for several years and continue to affect ordinary Namibians. This morning, we are joined by Mihe Gaomab II to unpack the intent, timing and potential impact of these task forces and whether or not they represent a course of correction or a necessary consolidation of efforts to drive inclusive and sustainable growth. Good morning, Mr. Gaomab. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
Well, to set the scene, Mr. Gaomab, what problems or set of problems do you believe the President is trying to address through the establishment of these various task forces?
Well, I can only borrow from the introductory note that you made, which is very, very, very important. But I think before I can start with that, there is a definitional clarity that needs to be needed by the definition a task force. A task force is normally, from an operational context, established to address a particular problem. And as you know, Namibia, even though it is quite advanced compared to many African countries around the area of infrastructure, housing, land reform, and so on, and land tenure, and also the health reform, I think there is a critical need to address the bottlenecks that are there in those sectors. Now, the challenges abound is that this is not the first time that we have not, we had some form of a advisory capacity or advisory unitary approach towards solving a particular problem in a sector, and hence, from that point of view, Her Excellency always preaches about or affirms or even is firm on the ground of unity of purpose and unity towards a particular cause of solving the challenges that are abound in Namibia. Some challenges are not really unique to Namibia. Some African countries do have most. But from the word task force, in the past it used to be called the Economic President's Economic Advisory Council, a council, but it was more of a formalized approach. But I believe the President wants to emphasize on a more semi-formal, more collaborative, more transparent and inclusive and action-oriented way for the members, the eminent members that were appointed to give a strategic policy oversight. So it's not just of an operational nature. Most ministries are also faced with those areas around housing, land, health, and also economic recovery and resilience. And I don't need to mention the ministries, but I think they are quite self-evident. But from a policy oversight point of view, the coordination, the collaboration, and also having a chief champion in the form of the Director General of the National Planning Commission, and having actually the eminence of the President by involving the communities, even churches, to that extent, and also the youth, women, on a balanced and inclusive basis, and also the experts and the skills and the diversity element and the balanced process she looks at how to solve that. That is very encouraging, and I think that's actually the way to go. Yeah.
So these task forces, they focus on areas such as economic recovery, health, housing. Why do you think these sectors in particular were selected and require urgent presidential intervention?
The 3 or 4 areas that the president is looking at, one is called economic recovery and resilience. Now, we have macroeconomic stability compared to most countries. We have political stability. We have a political transition management, which I think is highly commendable. We also have got we have quite a strong policy design around how to grow the economy. But it's the implementation part that is so crucial. And I think the pitfall of the implementation bears on the element of governance. And I think economic and social governance is key. Increasingly, we call it the ESG approach, whereby we look at the environment, protecting and preserving the communities, the livelihoods thereof, where most of the rural people are staying, and I don't want to say poor, but rural and subsistence-based. So from that point of view, I think the environmental context of addressing the environmental concerns that we have, albeit we have tourism, albeit we have the necessary infrastructure such as roads and rail and ports. I think there is an element to accelerate the need to grow the economy. Now, the only way that one can grow first is, and I think this is where he prioritizes the 2 areas, and by extension also another one. And these 2 areas need critical interventions and urgent attention. It does face around the issue of housing. I mean, we've got a huge housing backlog. The president always says Namibia is too small to be poor. So I think we can't, with a sustainable, cost-effective, and also goal-orientated basis, the task force can actually come up with some actionable recommendation of addressing the bottlenecks. And normally, it's sometimes of such bureaucratic issues or issues of not doing things right. Yeah. And then from that point of view, if you have macroeconomic stability, economic recovery and resilience, governance becomes key. And therefore the task force members may need to be affirmed on the basis that they have to exercise ethical leadership. They also have to look at the full fiduciary duties that is before them, because there will be a high level of scrutiny going forward as to how they're going to go about it. But I believe the president has chosen them on the basis of that confidence that he has in them, and also on a differentiated basis, differentiated but also inclusive and collaborative basis. Yes. To come to a common goal.
Yes, on that point of inclusive and collaborative basis, yeah. In terms of the president's choice, earlier this week we did see that she did add younger people as part of the task force. What do you think this signals in terms of the president's commitment to youth, to incorporating youth voices and making sure that even their perspectives are incorporated in terms of the actionable plans that come out from the task forces?
Yeah, that's a very, very, very pertinent question, and I think the whole world at the moment is in a transition, and the makers or the change agents of that transition is the youth, in particularly women. From that point of view, I think there's been in the past a bit of marginalization, a bit of suppression on the elements of creativity, on the element of involving them within the economy, on the element of picking up on their brains. And the reason why I'm saying we're in a transition is the technological imperatives that faces us. The whole world, and Namibia in particular, is moving towards a technological advanced economy. And if you leave technology behind, if you leave electricity behind from a renewable point of view, or energy behind, I think we will not grow.
Yes.
And then hence the tech revolution, the cell phones that we have are actually business tools to advance the economy, not just social tools.
Absolutely.
Yes. And the youth is actually they are wired towards that to better understand that technological contribution that, the social media, the TV networks, the apps, the designs, the creative industries, the digital creators, the digital innovators, increasingly is actually the buzzword. And I think there is a natural attrition of a transition from the old, but then there has to be also an element of a generational migration,
yes,
which means that the capacity, capability, the ability, the skills, the historical context in which Namibia has been in, and the people that were involved in terms of formulating the policy discourse, the youth may need to take that as a hand,
yes,
and then carry us forward now, because they've got more energy and drive.
Absolutely.
But then the wisdom remains.
And that is why the collaboration remains key.
Exactly.
Intergenerational collaboration as well.
Exactly.
Now, thank you so much, Mr. Gaomab, for taking the time to help us understand and unpacking the intent as well as implications of the various presidential task forces.
Yes, I just want to mention that it's also very important that the task force report, if it comes out, may need to have action-oriented goals. It should be specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and also time-bound. I think that area is not yet explored. Normally, a task force is being given a specific assignment, and then it takes a time frame, maybe 6, 12, 18 months to come up with that report so that the implementation cannot be compromised, because I think we've been very much short in the past in that area of advancing the nation forward.
Yes.
And so less policy design, less policy paralysis, less policy complementarities, yes, duplication, but also a more inclusive approach of how you can harness the existing policies, yes, into an implementable and action-oriented issues to address, particularly the economic recovery, the issue of resilience, yes, the issue of land reform, the land tenure, and the housing, and the health facilities, yes, going forward.
The key developmental issues.
Yes, absolutely. And yes, also aligned to the National Development 6.
Absolutely.
That is borrowed from National Development 1 to 5 towards the Vision 2030 as well.
Yes. Thank you so much.
And I do highly commend the President for actually taking this bold initiative.
And all her efforts. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.